In 1942, the winds over Nauru carried an ominous stillness. Father Alois Kesa, who had long made the island his home, felt the weight of change pressing in. Fluent in the language and devoted to his mission, he had become more than a priest. He was a man bound to the island by love and duty. Beside him stood Father Pierre Cleves, quieter but resolute, a figure of calm strength whose faith was expressed through steadfast presence rather than words.
Father Kesa apostle ne naro dengan iata toto chimoron mugur ne naro toto andai toto energy but a master in karta language. When I'm on man Father Cleves, that degree met nana me on up, but the degree time I'm reading. A bit adapt in a denaro or panuri denaro or panaria bit camarain data we mention.
When Japanese forces seized Nauru, both men were confronted with a decision: remain behind in relative safety or accompany those being deported into uncertainty. For Kesa, hesitation was unthinkable. For Cleves, silence was his answer. He would not leave his companion, nor the path of service they had chosen. Together they boarded the ship, not as captives, but as priests determined to walk into exile.
One missionary still a wine a no the monbel tunna and make na painingea. Ur armena accepting a tanum to make akabet or cheat and over take a try me kayak and nanar makadakar aria Chiwaria takatin and not again carver faith.
The journey across the Pacific was brutal. The ship ground against the waves, its hold filled with despair. Yet, Kesa and Cleves carried themselves with quiet resolve. Kesa moved constantly, offering blessings, sharing scraps of food, and whispering courage. Cleves tended to the sick, his prayers steady through the long nights. Their bond deepened in the darkness of the voyage, two men of faith refusing to surrender to fear. Track was a place of hunger, sickness, and forced labor. For the priest, it became a crucible endurance. Each day they rose to continue their mission, holding secret masses, burying the dead with dignity and giving away their own rations until their bodies weakened. Kesa's health began to fail, but his spirit did not. Cleves, though weary, remained unwavering, carrying the weight of both their vows. By 1944, Kesa's strength was nearly gone. Years of hardship had carved deep lines into his face, yet he continued to serve until his body could no longer bear it. One evening, as the sun sank red over the lagoon, he whispered to Cleves, "If I cannot return, let my heart return without people." Soon after, he died, leaving Cleves to carry their shared mission alone. When the war ended, Cleves walked back into freedom carrying no possessions, only the memory of his companion and the burden of promises unfulfilled. Returning to Nauru, he rebuilt the Catholic mission, comforted the grieving, and lived as the living testament of their shared sacrifice. Father Kesa remained in Track, buried far from the island he loved. Father Cleves lived on after the war, carrying the memory of Father Kesa until 1973. His devotion remained steadfast until his passing on the 25th June 1991. Though far from the island he had served, his legacy endures in the faith and resilience of the community he shepherded. The sacrifice of Father Alois Kesa and the steadfast devotion of Father Cleves remain etched in memory. Kesa gave his life in exile, refusing to abandon his mission while Clevis carried their shared burden home and rebuilt what war had torn apart. 80 years on, their witness continues to speak of faith that endures, suffering of loyalty that defies fear, and of love that outlives death. Their legacy is not confined in history books. It is alive in the spirit of Nauru's Catholic mission and in the school that once bore Kesa's name. This story is offered in remembrance and gratitude as Nauru marks two profound anniversaries in 2026. The 58 years of independence and the 80 years since the return from Chuk, a moment that restored hope after exile and suffering. Within these commemorations, we honor the legacy of Father Alois Kesa and Father Clevis. Their faith, sacrifice, and steadfast devotion stand as part of the foundation upon which Nauru's spirit has endured. May the example continue to inspire the people of Nauru to face challenges with courage, unity, and dignity. God bless the memory of the priests. God bless the people of Nauru, and God bless our island nation.